Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody is having a great morning and enjoyed our first general session. We're going to go ahead and get started today. I am Anissa Mazuka with the Michigan Works Association. I am the Director of Operations. And on behalf of the staff of the association and all of our sponsors, we thank you for being part of the conference and the session titled 10 Facts You Need to Know About Generational Differences at 10 and 30. We want to give a big shout out and thanks to EDSI for sponsoring today's workshop session. Our sponsors help make this conference happen, and we are very thankful for their support. Along with our sponsors, our exhibitors who have also given their time to be part of this event, be sure to visit the exhibit hall during the designated exhibit hall times. So following our 11:15, we will have one of those times. In the chat, I have posted some Twitter handles. I have posted our survey, so if you could please fill that in at the end of the session, I would greatly appreciate it. Since this is a 10 and 30 and I am facilitating another one following this, I will be leaving. So I just want to give a big thanks to Jessica today for presenting. She will be presenting this session, and she is the Planning and Program Manager with the Michigan Works Northeast. So I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Anissa. All right, well, we can go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 10 and 30 session, 10 Facts You Need to Know About Generational Differences. As Anissa said, my name is Jessica Topp. I'm the Planning and Program Manager at Michigan Works Northeast Consortium. You're probably wondering, what does a manager at a Michigan Works know about generational differences? Doesn't she write policy, sit behind a desk? Well, you'd be right. I do write policy and sit behind a desk. But before sitting in this super comfy chair, which is now at home, thanks to COVID, and staring at a computer screen all day, I studied at Northwood University. I received my bachelor's in business administration with a major in management. Then I received my master's in business administration. Throughout those programs, one of the topics I studied heavily was generational differences. This topic fascinated me. Do you ever learn about a topic and it just lights a fire in your belly? Well, this was one of those topics for me. I loved it. So since I began my educational journey, I attended every lecture, every workshop at a conference, including other annual conferences with Michigan Works, and watched, I don't even know how many TED Talks about the subject. So now that you know a little bit about me and where I'm coming from with this information, we can go ahead and get started. I will note, if you want to make the presentation screen bigger, all you have to do is double click on it and it will make that bigger. Don't double click on me because that will make me bigger. You don't want that. You want the presentation. So let's go ahead and run through it. All right, we will cover 5 main generations today, what they are, what each of them are motivated by. Based on that information, we will then cover what employers should do to increase employee morale based on the generation they are speaking with. Now, this doesn't just have to be for employers. This information isn't made solely for the employer and employee relationship. It can also be used for coworkers, friends, even your family, and everything in between. The information we're going to cover can be used across the board. You just have to tweak it a little bit for the purpose that you're going for. Okay, so the generations. I will start off by noting that everyone is different. So just because a person falls into one of these generational categories doesn't mean that the information shown and what I'm about to go through with you is 100% accurate for them. So with that, who are the different generations? As you can see, traditionalists, shortened for trads here, they're often also called the silent generation, were born between 1928 and 1944. So that makes them between 76 and 92 years old today. This puts most of them in retirement right now, but we're still going to cover this generation today nonetheless. Baby boomers were born between 1945 and 1964, making them 56 to 75 years old today. Gen X were born between 1965 and 1979, making them 41 to 55 years old today. Gen Y, often called the Millennial, were born between 1980 and 1994, making them between 26 to 40 years old today. And Gen Z, the newest generation, were born from 1995 and on, so that makes them 25 years old and under today. I bet some of you were surprised at the age of millennials, weren't you? All right, I would also like to note here that if someone were to fall on the cusp of two generations, meaning they were born within a year or two of the beginning or the end of a generation, they might have some traits in each of those generations. So for example, if someone was born in 1964, you can see that's the end of the baby boomer generation, right? So they might have some traits in the baby boomer and Gen X. It's also important to say here that there are many different interpretations of the generations, meaning one source may say a generation ends a certain year, but then another source may say the generation continues for 2 or 3 more years. As an example, this shows that millennials were born between 1980 and 1994, but another source I've read says millennials were born between 1985 and 1999. So there's really no one source that has been deemed 100% correct. All right, I'm seeing in the chat, please share your PowerPoint. Yes, I have sent my PowerPoint to the association. Don't worry, you will have access to it. Okay, time for a poll in the chat, or as I like to call it, forced fun. Everyone must participate. Please. So now that we've gone over the different generations, what generational group do you fall into? Put your answer in the chat. I would love to see. Gen X, Gen Y, baby boomer. Okay, we have a lot across the board. Ooh, a Gen Z. Awesome. More baby boomers. Awesome, that is great. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. Millennial. I love to see the different, some people will say Gen Y, some people will say millennial. Millennial is the most common term. All right, great. Thanks so much for sharing, you guys. Awesome. All right, as you can see by this infographic, millennials make up 35% of the workforce numbers today. They're followed by a close second of Gen Xers with 33%, then baby boomers in third with 25%. Gen Z trails far behind at 5% and traditionalists at 2%. This is important to note because it may help you understand the potential different makeups in your office, differences. 5 generations at work means there are 5 different approaches to work and to supervising. A multi-generational workforce can be a little tricky to navigate, but not if you have the right tools. All right, more stuff in the chat. So, what are some common misconceptions, myths, or generalizations made about traditionalists? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat. It can be anything, but keep it simple. And don't worry, if you're one generation and you see some of these coming in and you're like, whoa, that hits too close to home, you will have your chance because we're going to do this with every single generation. Stuck in their ways. They hated the boomers' music. Technology deficient. All right, yep, this one we're doing right now is just about the traditionalist or silent generations. This is the first one we covered. Computer illiterate, not flexible, hardworking. Absolutely, those are great. So again, these are common misconceptions, myths, and generalizations that are made about this generation. All right, so traditionalists. On top of being motivated by respect, recognition, and providing long-term value to the company they are employed with, traditionalists are dependable, straightforward, loyal, and tactful. They were shaped by World War II and the Great Depression. Their communication style is face-to-face and written letters. All right, another one. So same thing we just did, but this time about baby boomers. Tell me, what do you think the common misconceptions, myths, and generalizations are about baby boomers? Put that in the chat. Loyal, hardworking, hippies, radical, workaholics. Most awesome group. Well, we know who Loretta's with. Workaholics again, yep. Hardworking, absolutely. Fair, loyal, Open-minded, hardworking. These are great guys. Knowledgeable, very responsible. Awesome. Thank you so much for putting that in the chat. All right, so on top of being motivated by duty, teamwork, and being loyal to the company they are employed with, baby boomers are optimistic, competitive, workaholics, as many of you said in the chat, and team-oriented. They were shaped by the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement. Their communication style is mainly face-to-face, but they do also like phone calls. Round 3 again. So Gen X, what are some common misconceptions, myths, and generalizations? Controlling, dependent, the very best one. Okay, we know what Dominique is with. Independent, change agents, last of the hardworking gen. Wow. Hardworking. All right. Uncertain, I think they know it all. Independent. These are all great ones. They wish they were boomers. That's funny, Anne. Okay. So Gen X, as shown here, they're motivated by diversity, work-life balance, and putting personal professional interests over the company's interest. They're also flexible, independent, and skeptical. They were shaped by the dot-com boom and the fall of the Berlin Wall. Their communication style is face-to-face and phone calls, but whichever is most efficient for the situation they're in. Again, with Gen Y and Millennial, be gentle with me. I'm a Millennial. Throw your common misconceptions, myths, and about Gen Y / Millennials in the chat box. Lazy. Ooh, I knew that was going to be the first one. Multitaskers. There we go. All right. Entitled, lazy. Know all about social media. Sometimes. The Gen Zers have taken over social media. I didn't know what a TikTok was until a couple weeks ago. Lazy, don't want to work at all. No patience, uncommitted, tech savvy, yep. Never call. Jump from job to job, ready for change, too free-spirited. Tied to technology, yep, Amanda, absolutely. Less face-to-face interaction with others, that is true. Ashley, you weren't missing much with TikTok, thanks. Only text, no phone calls, yep. Doesn't feel respect is earned, great with technology and adapting to different settings, non-traditional, First truly informed generation. Huh. I'll see, some of those were nice. You weren't too hard on me, thanks. Wants to start at the top. Yeah, I know a few like that. If not happy, we'll move on quickly. Accepting. All right, these are great. Don't believe the rain is wet. Large student debt, Andrew, yes. Oh, so much debt. Oh, Sheila, thank you. She said you are an exception to most of these comments. Don't worry, I don't take it personally. Accepting to different lifestyles, absolutely. All right, thanks so much, guys. You weren't too hard on millennials. Okay, so millennials are motivated by responsibility, the quality of their manager, and having unique work experiences. So not the normal day-to-day type stuff. They want unique things. They're also competitive, civic and open-minded, and achievement-oriented. They were shaped by 9/11 and, surprise, the internet. Their communication style is email, instant messaging, and texting. No surprise there. All right, the last of the generation. So Gen Z, remember they're the ones who were born 1995 and on. So go ahead, put your common misconceptions, myths, and generalizations about Gen Z in the chat. Most racially and ethnically diverse. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. No work ethic. Still just kids. Don't want to drive. What's a written letter? Oh, yes. Diverse, no loyalty, tech focused, need direction, addicted to technology, don't use paper for anything. Apparently, there's notebooks out now where you can write in it with a special pen and then wipe it off and reuse it. The world is a-changin'. Real words, just use text talk. Think the world needs a reset button. Great at thinking and working outside the box. Yeah. All about social media, instant gratification. No work ethic. Lack of respect for elders, no patience. Can't write in cursive. Poor communication skills. Want to learn the hard way, work for themselves. Lack of independent thinking. Can't write a check. Yeah. I know some Gen Z who don't even know what a checkbook is. Social change. Do they know what eye contact is? Confuse knowledge with wisdom. All right. So Gen Z, excuse me, on top of being motivated by diversity, personalization, individualization, and creativity, Gen Z are also progressive, global, and less focused. They were shaped by the Great Recession and access to the internet and technology as a whole from a young age. Their communication style is texting and social media. All right, we're going to play a super short quiz here, but it's not like the pop quizzes that you had in school because this is not about any of the information we just covered. It's more for funsies on some interesting facts about generations. So I'm going to put a question up on the screen. We're going to read it, and then I want everyone to put their best guess answer in the chat. Don't worry, after we go over your answers, at the end of each question, I'll let you know the right answer so you're not hanging in limbo. Unfortunately, though, I don't have any cool prizes for the person who gets the most right, so you'll have to settle for bragging rights. What year will it be when 1 in 5 United States residents reach retirement age? Go ahead and put that in the chat. What year will it be when 1 in 5 United States residents reach retirement age? All right, I see lots of you are getting the right answer. Absolutely, all right. So what year will it be when 1 in 5 United States residents reach retirement age? 2030. I saw some of you had some numbers that were pretty close to that, and then some were way, way out there, but surprisingly it's 2030. Next one, by 2025, millennials will make up what percentage, so we're looking for a percentage, what percentage of the global workforce? All right, I see some numbers coming in. I think you guys are going to be surprised by this answer, by the percentages you're putting in the chat here. All right. Oh, some of you are getting closer. Yep. All right. So what percentage of the global workforce are millennials going to be in 2025? 75%. I bet you guys are pretty surprised by that. I see a lot of low numbers, but surprisingly, millennials are going to make up 75%. By 2060, the population of working age adults is expected to decrease by how much? So what percentage, again, we're looking for a percent here, what percentage by 2060 of the population of working age adults is expected to decrease by? See a lot of good answers coming in. I think you guys are going to be surprised by this one too. $5%. Can you believe that? I didn't. I had to double source check it because I thought that was crazy. 5%. All right, next one. X out of 10 employees, we're looking for a number here, not a percentage, just one number. How many out of 10 employees over the age of 45 have experienced age discrimination? So tell me, what is X? I'm looking for one number. How many out of 10 employees over the age of 45, not as a whole, just over the age of 45, have experienced age discrimination? All right, lots of answers coming in the chat. I see a lot of correct answers. Very good. 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Although surprisingly, only 3% have made a formal complaint on that. What percentage of the world's population is 24 years old and younger? So this is the whole world, not just the US. Some stats I gave you earlier were just on the US workforce, but I'm looking for the whole world right now. What percentage of the world's population is 24 years old and younger? All right, I see some answers coming in. A couple that are pretty close to being right. 41%. See, some of you got that right. Awesome. All right, last question in our fun little quiz here. The millennial generation spends roughly 600 blank in the US per year. So is that 1,000, million, or billion? Do they spend 600,000, 600 million, or 600 billion per year in the US? And this isn't on anything specific, it's just as a whole. Not just on shopping, not just on food. Although I do spend a lot on food. Billion buying coffee. That's true. I do have a coffee addiction. I will freely admit that. All right. Lots of good answers coming in. Billion. So millennials spend roughly 600 billion in the US per year. That is a lot of money. All right. So this begs the question, so what? What are we going to do with all this information? Why does it matter? What are we doing with this? How are we going to apply it? Because traditionalists view age as equaling seniority, require stability, and one of their motivating factors are providing long-term value to their company, an employer of a traditionalist should provide satisfying work, provide opportunities to contribute to the organization, and emphasize stability in their role in organization. And again, I said this earlier, but I'm going to remind everybody right now, this is not 100% accurate for every single traditionalist you come across. Same thing with the other generations I'm going to go for. Everyone is different. This is just more of a guideline, a guidepost. Baby boomers. Because baby boomers are motivated by teamwork, loyalty, and duty, an employer of a baby boomer should provide specific goals and deadlines, put their employee in a mentor role when it's appropriate, of course, and offer a coaching style feedback to their employee. A fun fact about baby boomers is that 10,000 baby boomers reach retirement age every day. Every day. 65% of these baby boomers plan to work past the age of 65. Although this information was pre-COVID, so I bet it's kind of different now. Personally, I know of some baby boomers who were planning to retire or were planning to work past the age of 65, but have since decided to retire now due to COVID. All right, because Gen X is motivated by diversity and work-life balance, an employer of a Gen Xer should give them feedback immediately, not just on their quarterly or annual review, but within a timely fashion. They should also provide a flexible working environment that offers a healthy work-life balance, as well as extend opportunities for personal development. Millennials or Gen Y. Because millennials are motivated by responsibility and the quality of their manager, an employer of a millennial should give immediate feedback. As I said with the Gen Xers, this should be done in a timely fashion. Don't wait for the next scheduled review 4 months down the road. They should also get to know their employee personally and manage by results. Gen Z. Because Gen Zers are motivated by diversity and personalization, an employer of a Gen Zer should offer opportunities to work on multiple projects at one time and allow them to be self-directed and independent. Surprisingly, though, although this motivates them, I found a staggering 40% of Gen Zers say they want to interact with their supervisor on a daily basis or multiple times a day. I was surprised by that statistic. Okay, so we are just about at the conclusion here. At our 30-minute mark, we have a couple more minutes. So what I can do is we can put some questions in the chat box if you guys have any questions. I also have my email up here. If anyone wants to email me any questions. All right, you mentioned 20% of adults will be retired by 2030. Do you know what that rate is today? You know what, Trevor? I don't know what that rate is today, but I would be more than happy to find that out for you. And I can even add that into my slides and resubmit it to the association. So I will find out for you. Oh, thanks, Lynette. Fun and interesting. Yay. All right, if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat box, but otherwise that concludes our presentation for today.